Let's mutilate our children or kill them before they are born. Die. Let's innovate to zero carbon emitters. Die. Let's make everyone obey us and kill us all those who are poor. They're just relocation centers. Death and some more. Diversity, inclusion, and equity. Progress is so good now. It's sad there is no more. Progress at all costs. Let's progress some more. Die. Well, I guess we might as well start. You already had to sit through the intro music or whatever I had planned for that. As I have to work with this fan on me, blowing my fart straight back up in my face for whatever reason instead of away from me. Yeah, I can only last watching YouTube videos downstairs on the TV for so long before I go crazy. So we're starting this at 10:35 p.m. and you're watching it whenever. Anyways, this is our recorded stream, ready to go, everything planned out. Let's see if I can get this to actually cooperate. Starting it off at this website here. If you want to help support the show, there are plenty of ways at this website. The link is literally right. Oh, you can't see the mouse once it leaves this box here. Yes, but down there you can see it's right there. And I don't know what else to say. It's like, don't give me money unless you want to give me money. Don't give me money for nothing. Look, you can check out. Yeah, I'm one of those guys, giving you my personal Coinbase referral link. Yay! Fuck that shit. Let's take the Judaism down a notch. I mean, all right. So this video has been prepared in advance. Now, mind you, at this show, unlike every other show, we look at everything, as opposed to, well, let's just say, over the past 100 years or more, the West has been, let's just say, there's a series of school systems that have taught that most groups of people are open for scrutiny and criticism, but there's one group of people you can never criticize. Today, we're not going to criticize them so much. Oh, dare we not criticize them, the holy and perfect ones who rule Hollywood and also your education system, apparently, because you've been educated, we'll call it, not indoctrinated, but you've been programmed from young to consider any criticism, positive, negative, or any double look, any criticism of this group of people, to be unacceptable, beyond reproach, and you must be outcast. For example, if I was to criticize Muslims and a few social justice warriors, the types that think that Islam is such a great feminist movement, like those types of people might have a problem with it. Most people wouldn't give a fuck. If I was to criticize Christians, you could see a similar rebuttal among Christians and virtually no one else. If I was to criticize, atheists or any other group of people, there's a small reaction, right? But if you criticize this one group of people, I'll tell you, this is the second thing we're covering today. It's outcast. It's unacceptable. These people have never done anything wrong in their entire life. All of them are sacred and pure. And any criticism of them, and you get put in a box outside of all the other boxes, all alone, without any money, without any connection to resources, you get exiled, as if these people could be nothing other than what they've been painted through history as the greatest victims ever. Not a whole bunch of individuals who are individually capable of being good, bad, ugly, righteous or unrighteous, or just or unjust, like every other human being. But instead, they're painted monolithically as the untouchable race, even though they're not a race. The untouchable religion, even though they're not technically religion. And the word today that is used to describe them is used so loosely, just about anyone who has just like one qualification. Yes, I'll be talking about that group. So, get ready, because we're going into territory that is unacceptable. You are not allowed to criticize the people in power and this group. So, but we're going to start first on Atlantis. There's three main theories on Atlantis. I'm going to go over this fairly quickly. If you think this episode is kind of poor quality, give my producer a shout out. Send him an email letter. I am my own producer. So how about you head over to the website down there and give me a $5. No, not $5 bills. Shut the fuck up. Money ain't worth shit no more. In fact, physical money and digital money, fiat, is going down the drain. So the beautiful thing is, I didn't supply, not shilling for myself. Okay, I am shilling for myself, but at least I'm shilling for myself and not anyone else. I'm thinking about just for this is our third episode for podcasting and our third episode for videoing this series. I'm thinking about just like not having ads at all and just trying to sneak people over to this website. And so that way, if instead of hearing all the annoying ads, if and only if you want to support, you can support. Buy me a cup of, I don't like coffee or tea, so I guess you could just buy me a donut or a fucking muffin. I like muffins. And see, I've got the links to, if you want. These are much more secure, I'd say, forms of donation than the first group. But the first group is more accessible, being PayPal, Rumble, our shop, my shop, our shop, my shop. Sometimes I speak in the plural. It's Donate Crypto is down there. This is the Dark Star Rising JARV podcast, and today we are covering Atlantis and the other thing that we mentioned in the intro. And so I would like to go over the three main theories about where Atlantis is. First off, with the Eye of Sahara, which you might have seen in a YouTube video or some other like cringy clickbaity video. How I first discovered this, I didn't know for the longest period of time there was a giant fucking series of circles in Sahara underneath all this. Apparently, I'm going to describe it for the viewing impaired. All this water. So you got Africa, North Egypt, right about Cairo. Okay, that's where it starts. Right to the west of all the green stuff. Right, along the river that you have in Egypt, called the river that is in Egypt. I believe it's called the river in Egypt. Anyways, Cairo, where the river exits in the north, flowing from the south, because water goes upside down in Africa. You've got this big wash. It looks like it's just a wash, like a giant wave washed over Africa, and just, whether it's wind or water, made this mark all over all of Africa desert, the Great Sahara, all the way down to the west. We have Nutochok. I'm not doing it to make fun of anyone. I'm just pronouncing it with a really weird accent. Tiklift and Dakla, west of Africa. Morocco is the greener area. And then you have up south, you have all of these wet marks. Well, they're dry marks. But the point is, it looks like either water or wind swept it from right above Egypt to the west of Egypt, all throughout Nigeria, Algeria, Libya, Chad, Niger, Tunisia, Mali, all the way through Senegal, Nouakchott, to the west coast, where the Atlantic Ocean is. The one that's bordering Ireland, France, England, and the United States. United States of Confoland. So right here in Mauritania is how I'm going to say it. Kifa, Nima, bunch of Arabic words. Western Sahara. That's what you should look for, right off the bat. Western Sahara. Off the coast of Santa Cruz, and then you just go south, east. It's called the Richard structure, but it's not the real official name. That's just some bullshit archaeology word. Its real name is the Eye of Sahara, or option 1 for Atlantis. And the reason why is, according to Plato, the one person we have who talked about Atlantis extensively, the rings are consensually lining up with the rings of his description. However, also way too big. What? Yes, right off the bat. Not saying I'm disproving this theory. I'm just saying this is the flaw in the theory. The rings are just about perfect. It doesn't look like an asteroid, meteor, or any kind of celestial object hit it, because it doesn't look like a crater. It looks like a whole bunch of rings inside of rings. But it's huge. And this is about how big the Atlantis, supposedly of Plato, would be, according to the descriptions of Atlantis. But you probably heard this in Joe Rogan. So we're going to go ahead. I mean, I've known about this for like 5 years. Okay, or longer, maybe 10 years. Not 10 years, maybe 5 years. But the point is, when you have pictures of the Africa, then it's kind of in this recess, or maybe this is higher. It's kind of hard to tell. Can we go 3D? Still looks like a recess, not looking like it's higher. Yeah. Anyways, that isn't helping at all, Google. You find some interesting things in Google Maps. Some things blurred out, some things just left there, even though they're not supposed to exist. Eye of Sahara. Well, the other two ideas, we're going to go to the second theory, which is probably going to be more popular because it's actually in the Pacific, once again, Atlantic Ocean. But I was thinking, what's the size of a continent in the Atlantic Ocean? Africa, technically, right? It's in the Atlantic, but basically it's bordering the Atlantic Ocean, however you want to say it, right? And it could have been submerged underwater during a flood, a great flood, I think, to submerge this whole desert area. And thus it could have easily been. However, supposedly going through the Strait of Gibraltar, which may or may not have been the inspiration. I mean, Lord of the Rings was the inspiration for the Strait of Gibraltar with those two statues, you know what I mean? Pillars of Hercules is what people say that the ancients called them. I don't know if I believe them. But this is pretty cool here. Far away from Portugal, Spain, far away from Nova Scotia, not in the middle, but hereabouts closer to Africa and UK than the United States, but fairly close to Canada, because Canada goes leaning out towards Europe like it's trying to get away from its social justice wars. We have, not like they're going to get any progress going over to Europe. You just get the European kind of green feminists. You have a whole bunch of islands. North Atlantic Ocean, Santa Cruz, in between there's a line that goes down, and you get a whole bunch of islands that are underwater, so they're not islands so much as mountains, and then some islands proper. And these mountains, essentially, poking out and pretending to be islands, or otherwise, they have mountains on top of the mountains. Or what is to believe to be option 2 for Atlantis. Because it kind of could be another small little, continent, I believe they're called. And who knows, there could be round-ringed cities here too. Like right here. There in that blurry spot there. For whatever reason, they're all blurred. That is option 2. Now, we're going to go ahead and go to Google Earth, which looks so completely different now that they made Google Maps 3D. This is wow. So different. So different. It's a globe that spins around. And this is a globe that spins around. Their textures are practically identical. And, wow, so different. I don't even know which one I'm using right now. But anyways, the last option is yes. You heard it. Look under the skirt, the underpants of the planet. Oh, I see. You can't go to the bottom proper on maps, but you can on Google. Antarctica itself is technically in the Antarctic Ocean, is it not? I mean, it's fucking Antarctica itself. Antarctica. As opposed to, see, there's Arctica and then anti-Arctica. Yeah, that joke's pretty. And Antarctica is right here. Huge, by the way. It's like the size of fucking Russia. And Russia is fucking massive. So, where's Russia? Yeah, it's like the size of Russia. I didn't say it was exactly per cubic. But it's huge. I think it's bigger than China, isn't it? Let's see. China and Russia are pretty big. But if you take Mongolia out of it, this is China here. Looks fucking huge, way bigger than China. It has to be bigger than China. Is it bigger than Russia? I don't know, but it looks bigger than China. It looks bigger than maybe not bigger than Canada with all their excess fluff. The point is, it's fucking massive. Bigger than Australia, bigger than the United States, probably bigger than China, bigger than Europe, bigger than large groups of Africa. And you got it right there. It's also, the interesting thing about this, the thing that is problematic about it being in Africa, I mean, it's not underwater, but it was perhaps underwater one time. Well, it's problematic being in the Pacific, Atlantic, whatever fucking ocean this is. It's too small. It should be bigger. Well, Antarctica is both covered by water, correct me if I'm wrong. I know I'm not. Covered by water and also big enough to be a continent all by itself, and also in the Antarctic. Isn't that amazing? In fact, I wasn't the first person. Think of this. Gene Roddenberry, I'm giving you a hard time. I'm giving you a hard time, guys. Matt Wright. Robert Wright, because you put their names together. The producer, we're going to just, Brad Wright and Robert C. Cooper. Okay, but the point is, these gentlemen thought of this before me, and I'm sure there's been a book author or 100,000 of them who've thought of this idea before me and said, hey, Antarctica should be where Atlantis is. And it's not a bad idea, because you could fit lots of ring cities in Antarctica to spare. So those are the three main places to find Antarctica. I'm sorry, Atlantis. And I'd rather just the Stargate version, to be honest. Now we get into the fun stuff, because actually I already did this in my head a million times, so it's kind of like this is just going to be boring for me. I'm sure for you it'll be a make or break episode. Okay, this is the thing about this podcast. I want to, first of all, I disregard the humanist, Western and international perspectives of human beings by human beings through human perspectives. Well, basically what I mean to say by that is since I have the capability and I declare the right, I claim and deny everything. What that means is I have the capability and I dare say the right to look at, talk about, criticize or approve or disprove or look at or discuss anything of that kind. Any facet of anything on planet Earth or anything else. That's it. You can call me whatever you want. You can say, oh, but that group is the one protected group, or rocks aren't allowed to be discussed, or you are not allowed to have an opinion about particle physics, or you know, or what. I don't give a fuck. I will say what I say, mean what I say, and get to it. Jews are not Semites. Now, for most of you, you can go on your way, because I've already triggered that not even innate, but that's just simply programmed part of your mind from your primary school to your secondary school to your college, that this group of people can never be criticized. If you criticize this group of people, you get outcast into a very small minority of people called neo something or alt fucking something else. You know, like there's lots of keywords to use for lots of groups of people. But if you criticize this group of people or even just talk about them without praising them, you immediately get put into this category. And the greater question is not so much, well, why would you talk about them? Because there's so many reasons to talk about all the different types of people, creatures and animals and plants and spaceships and everything. There's so many things to talk about. There's more reason to talk about these things than to not. So I'm going to talk about them. And the simple fact, still, grammatically, in the language, linguistically, Jews are not Semites. Semites are Phoenicians, Akkadians, Hebrews, and not Jews, Hebrews, and other people from the Meso area. This sums up pretty good. A member of every number of ancient southwestern Asians, including Akkadians, Phoenicians, Hebrews, and Arabs. However, the term Semite actually comes from Semitic languages. So in other words, it was a series of languages, I believe before, in fact, it was a word to describe genetic groups of people: Akkadians, Phoenicians, Hebrews, and Arabs. Okay? Now everybody knows what anti-Semite is, but that is in fact a devolution of the language and a false dichotomy. Oftentimes things start off technically true, and then people use the language incorrectly, and they create these colloquial paradoxes. So an anti-Semite should be someone against Semites, but Arabs are Semites, Hebrews are Semites, Phoenicians are Semites, and Akkadians are Semites. If you're an anti-Akkadian, Phoenician, Hebrew, or Arab, you're not an anti-Semite. Wait, what? Exactly. This is what I mean by dumbing down a language and in the schools indoctrinating people with simple grammatical and linguistical lies, paradoxes in fact. Now, if you are an anti-Jew, people assume that you're an anti-Semite. However, that would just literally mean you're anti-Jew. Semites are Akkadians, Phoenicians, Hebrews, Arabs, and here on this channel, we are going to speak truth instead of lies, look for the truth instead of regurgitating the brain-dead propaganda of the past thousands of years. Okay? Semite, noun. And where does it come from? Well, from Greek sem, I'm going to pronounce it, and Hebrew shem. Okay? For example, ancient Bible, the other texts similar to that, written in Hebrew and Greek. Those are the languages those are written with, at least the Bible. Hebrew and Greek. Not Aramaic, not Arabic. Hebrew and Greek. This is an important distinction, because words, there are different words for different things, and even words that are synonyms are not the exact same thing, generally speaking. Sure, glee and gay were very similarly used, so one was reappropriated for homosexuals and the other was left as it was, and then it was reappropriated by the Glee TV series, which was very queer and gay. In other words, now both words that used to mean frolicking and running around happily, those words are both changed. Now we don't have anything for those meanings other than frolic. But even then, glee and gay have slight different connotations. However, I couldn't really tell you them because I didn't live in that time when they were actually used. But we could look at the dictionary and try to figure it out. Words are different for a reason. Give me a second. And that's where we get this Semite. Arabs, Akkadians, Canaanites, Hebrews, some Ethiopians. Wait a minute. So you're saying being anti-Ethiopian is anti-Semite? Yes. Anti-Jew is not anti-Semite. They are not the same thing. In fact, anti-Ethiopian is more anti-Semite than anti-Jew. Interesting. So, Ethiopians are more Semite than Jews. Full fucking stop. Arabian Peninsula, Horn of Africa. But what about Hebrews? Aren't Jews and Hebrews the exact same thing? Once again, different words, different meanings. Okay, so this is a common, I believe, misconception. But we're going to start with the misconceptions so I can start where you're at and everyone else is at with the indoctrination that we've all had. Originally, Jew was an inhabitant of the ancient kingdom of Judah. False. But that is a common misdirection. Judah is not Jew. They're different words. Now, some could argue that the Aramaic word, Yidua, comes from Judah and also is used for Jew. Now, I'm not an expert in Aramaic or whatever language the Israelis speak. Once again, not Hebrew. I'm also not an expert in Hebrew, but I'm a lot more knowledgeable about Hebrew than I am about, Aramaic? Whatever. Yidua, I understand as being a name you give to a boy, not the name of an entire people group. However, the English word Jew is used for entire people groups. And this is best understood in, let me see if I can find my picture that I drew. Like once again, I shouldn't have to iterate this, but truth does not equal hate. Also, criticism does not equal hate. Here on the Dark Star Rising, we try to understand reality better with as little hate, or the opposite of hate, love, as possible. Just purely trying to understand things the way they happen. And if us going on our exploratory journey to understand the universe and the reality, the universe in my opinion is an illusion, but all of everything and everything else better makes people angry at us, there's something wrong with them, not us, because we're just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And what we have here, okay, is the timeline, I guess we could say, is from the Bible and other historical records. Starts off with Ur, a city that people in the sciencey archaeologists did not believe it existed, said all the Bible was fantasy, and then they found Ur. Oops. I guess the Bible was right about just that one thing, Ur. Out of Ur came Abram. Now, he found, quite possibly, the God of Abraham in Ur, because at least going off of the understanding of the Bible and other sources, the concept of the one true, real God pre-existed the flood, pre-existed all the history that we have, all the ancient civilizations. And so you could just say he found God or God found him. And whether or not God changed his name from Yahweh to just Yahweh is kind of irrelevant, because, I mean, it would be cuter because God also changed his name from Abram to Abraham. Anyways, God and Abraham, or God and Abram, like you could say Yahweh, you could say there's a lot of words, right? But let's focus on. They traveled down, went to the mount with the 10 Commandments and all that jazz. Now, was Abraham alone? All by Abram and God, the only ones there? No, there were a whole bunch of people. Where did they come from? Ur. Wait a minute. So what were these people? Were they Hebrews? No. Were they Jews? No. Were they Christians? No. Muslims? Arabs? No. What kind of people were they? Urians. They were people from in and around Sumeria, ancient Sumer, the Akkadians, Phoenicians, Babylonians, Sumerians, those people in that area that is now roughly Iraq. Were they Iraqi? Nope. This is before Iraq. So you could just say they were Mesos. Okay? Important understanding. These people do not predate the flood. Alright? And there were probably a bunch of different kinds of people. And Abraham led them out. And that is what became the Hebrew nation, the Hebrew religion, the Hebrew culture, the Hebrew genetics, as in people from Ur, genetically descended from Ur, or the Meso, right? And their civilization. That's one thing. Okay? Now over time, Hebrew had some sons. One of them wasn't legitimate enough for some of them, and he was outcast, and that went off and sort of turned into the Arabs. It's complicated because the Arabs themselves are a lot bigger than their roots. You know, for basically you could say that just Ishmael came from Abraham, but then Ishmael's descendants settled a certain area, and then you had the Muhammad guy, and then he started that religion, or however you want to say it, and then those people conquered a lot of places, and so it wasn't just people descended from Ishmael who became Muslim, but that's where the Ishmaelites came from, also Abraham. So there's a lot of things to talk about. Hebrew has one word, but sadly there's not enough separate. We could make up new words for this, but basically there's the Hebrew religion, the Hebrew culture, the Hebrew genetics, the Hebrew civilization. Okay, those. Another way to say that for the Hebrew religion is the Abrahamic religion, the idea of God that appeared to him in Ur and told him to come out of Ur, and pull people from the area of Ur, Mesopotamian, who were genetically of that area. They weren't his descendants exclusively, but genetically of that area, and pull them in. Because if he was just starting off with his kids fucking each other, it would be more like Adam and Eve and less like, or more like the guy with the boat. But I do believe, in fact, there was a lot of other people, hence the whole group of people with him when he was on the mountain and everything else. And so there's a lot of genetic diversity already to a degree, and that became the Hebrew nation, but specifically from Abraham, Jacob. I get this mixed up a little bit because he had some kids and they went into Egypt twice. It gets confusing, and in the end, the Hebrew people virtually were no more. However, they did have descendants, both in the religious sense, the cultural sense, and even the genetic sense. However, once again, genes, aka people from other areas and other groups joined them. So it wasn't just the people descended from Abraham or the people from the Meso and Ur. It was a whole bunch of different people to add their DNA and even add culture and elements from Egyptian culture and other groups of people. Maybe even elements from other religions. And that is what created the 12 tribes of Israel out of Egypt the second time. So out of Egypt the second time, we have the 12 tribes of Israel descended from Joseph and Jacob. Not like Joseph and Jacob had kids together, but Joseph was in Egypt and Moses came out of Egypt, and yes, let my people, yes. And then after that, way after Abraham, you got the 12 tribes of Israel. So, new word. Why? Because they're a new group of people. They come from the old, but they added to it and changed, so now they're a new group of people. Israel had 12 tribes, and over a long period of time, ending with the Roman Empire's conquering of them, they ended up with just 2 tribes. Okay? The tribe of Israel and the tribe of Judah. Now, in the Bible, at least, which is like the best history book we have for looking at these people, and you might be like, well, it's just mythology. Well, turned out to not be mythology, and there's a lot of other things, so it's not just mythology. Sorry to burst your atheist bubble. It's a history book. And the interesting thing about this is the Hebrews actually talked about things before their time without superimposing their own races and cultures onto those times. For example, they didn't necessarily say that Noah and Adam and Eve were Jews. I mean, obviously, they were Hebrews. They didn't say they were Hebrews either. They said, no, these are people before us, before our groups, right? And that's a good thing. That's an important thing to understand, you know? The first group of people on planet Earth were the Jews. That's like rewriting history that you've experienced your entire life. Greek word for from Judah is laudas, not Yidua. Yidua, Aramaic, is the word in Aramaic that is used to name a kid. Supposedly this is the word that turned into the English word Jew. However, saying that they're equal, I do believe is incorrect. Yet we find that the Bible is shoved full of the word Jew, even though the word Jew in its modern English definition and its modern English use, mind you, words do change, like I mentioned with gay and glee, colloquially, meaning when they're spoken and they use the new definition. If you change the name, if 5% or 3% of America changes the definition of racism and they use it, and everybody else uses the old definition, now you've got a language misunderstanding. And this happens with English words all the time. And the English word Jew, I don't know what it meant in World War II, but what it means now is, but we'll get to that. We gotta edit this. So that's not hard. We just right click on it. Oh, it's right here, snake thing. Okay, so, all right, so, no, we want to edit it with Inkscape, the only SVG editor we have on the freaking planet. Greek word from laudes, not yedua. You're like, well, the Aramaic came later. You can't prove to me equivocally that laudes equals yedua. But maybe you could prove to me critically that yedua equals Jew, the English word. But even if it did originate from laudes, it doesn't mean that anymore. Let me explain to you what the modern word Jew actually means. Most of you will know at least one of these definitions, but probably not all the others. And we start with the religion of Judaism. Ouch. Come on, frames. Right here. Judaism is actually, important to understand this, not Hebrewism. Okay? Like I said, Hebrew was a culture, a race, sort of, being that they were all from the Meso, and all their descendants would be Hebrew, but they weren't all from the same people. Abraham brought people with him, and they could have been, who knows what they could have looked like, but they were all from the Meso area probably. Maybe some even came from other countries far away. But it was a religion, culture, genetics, DNA, and civilization. And the 12 tribes of Israel were 12 city, nation states, whatever you want to call it, of that descendancy, but different. They've been changed coming out of Egypt twice, and new groups joining them, groups leaving them. That boiled down to 2 tribes which were conquered by Rome and once again changed. Just like the Arabs' ancestors, the Ishmaelites, just a small group of the Arabs. Okay, don't get excited. Most Arabs are not descended from Ishmael, as far as I know. Most people who are Muslims or Islamists are not descended from Ishmael. However, the religion came from a guy who was living near some people who were. So basically, that's how that works. And then, in this Roman time, we have Christianity come out of that during the time of Jesus. Jesus being Jesus and his followers being Christians. Now, this is another important thing to understand. Jesus was not a Jew, and the ancient Israelites of that time were not Jews. They were laudes. They were not Yedua or Jew. They were laudes, the word for coming from the tribe of Judah. Once again, not Jew, Judah. One of the 2 tribes, Israel and Judah. For some reason that was used for both tribes though. That's kind of weird. Judah and Israel. So basically you could say Judan if you want a modern day word. Laudes. Okay? So if you're from the group of Israel, you're not a Jew and you're not Judan. But you're called Judan. Laudes. Why? Anyways, those people once again changed into 2 groups. Christians following Jesus and the Jews of Judaism. However, Jew is a very modern word and wasn't used, the English word Jew, for probably hundreds upon hundreds of years after this. Yes, hundreds upon hundreds of years when English emerged from the Germanic tribes. Yedua might have been used in Aramaic whenever Aramaic came into existence, but once again, Hebrew and Greek predate. And just like that, we have 3 offshoots of ancient Hebrewism, ancient Israelism, and those are Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Judaism is not the direct descendant of Hebrews. It's not the direct descendant of Israel. It's another offshoot. And that is just one part that we use for the word Jew. The religion of Judaism. There's another part, culture, the cultural part of Judaism. basically most people who call themselves Jews are actually just culturally Jews, meaning that their parents maybe were Jewish, and they took some of those ideas and they say they're Jews. They're like atheists, but they call it Jews. Another one would be genetic. However, finding the genetic proof of Jews is kind of like, okay, well, it's like a genetic Muslim. Well, there's black Muslims, there's white Muslims, there's the Arabian Muslims, there's the Southeast Asian Muslims, and just like that, there are many different kinds of Jews. There is no genetic type of Jew, unless you're talking about a certain group of people with hooked noses. Don't get fixated on noses. Noses are just another thing, okay? But those people would say, oh, genetically Jew, right? Okay, so where do they come from? Somewhere. Regardless, even if you were to say, okay, there's this one group of people who are genetically Jew, I would not allow you to say that of Russian Jews, Caucasian Jews, or any other type of group of people. Because how can you have 5 different genetic groups, completely different genetic groups, and all call it the same thing? It's the culture, or it's the ethnicity, or it's the religion, or in that one group of people with hooked noses, curved noses, bird noses. Like, hey, my nose is like a giant fucking melon or fucking apple tree, So that's what my nose is like. But like that specific group of people, maybe they're genetically Jew, but for the most part, it's more a religion, culture, and tradition from parents, or ethnicity is another word that better describes it than actual genetics. And here we come to this final pillar. Let's go ahead and finish Semite, the word Semite. Phoenicians, Akkadians, Ethiopians, Hebrews, Arabs, Meso-descendants. And there's also Semitic languages. Now, they have adopted the Semite word while only not being at all related to it at all. They're not. Where's Jew in here? Akkadian, Phoenician, Hebrew, Ethiopian, Arab, Meso languages. Well, they claim to be the sole descendants of Hebrew and Abraham, so essentially, not just the sole descendants, but like the true descendants, and actually literally just Hebrews, but they're not. That would make them imposers. Anyways, but they do claim this word, so we're going to add this word, and they can have it in their nice little, once again, not being negative, I'm being critical, as in I'm observing things, okay? I'm not saying all Jews are evil. I'm not saying all Jews are good. They're individuals just like everyone else. But this is better understanding Judaism. We'll go into Christianity. We'll go into Islam. If you give me enough time, we'll go into a whole bunch of different things. But this is where we start, is with the Jews. Because apparently they're foreboding. You're not allowed to exist on planet Earth and have an opinion about Jews. Or even one Jew. It's like, ooh. Unless you're on the left, then you can be all like, Ben Shapiro's a white supremacist. He's an anti-Jew. And also a religious Jew. And that makes sense in my reality. Well, I'm not like that. I try to judge people by the individual. The individual or not at all. That being said, I'm still going to observe reality, and I'm not going to be scared away by fucking keywords like alt-right, keo-fascist, neo-flarper, Gerben-derber, he's a anti-schmurmerd, he's a Putin-murford. I don't fucking care about your feelings or your facts. I'm here talking about reality, son. Alright, so here we have the Star of not David. Aha! Got you there. But honestly, where is the Star of David in the old text? Because I haven't found it. Maybe it's there somewhere. I don't think it's actually the Star of David. Not trying to say that the Jews are trying to take over the world and enslave everyone who's a natural penis skin with robot overlords. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is they're not Semites. I'm not saying they're evil. I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying They're not Semites. The Star of David is not the Star of David. It's also a 6-pointed star. 6-pointed star? Yes. 2 triangles upside down. Yes. Wow, so original. The point is, look at the pyramid. The pyramid's pretty cool. Just dispelling some myths. We have these 3 groups of people, and in the future we will look into these 3 groups of people if we have enough time. The Christians, the Judaisms, the Arabs, and we go on to the next piece. Boom. Who are the Semitic people? We already established that. Anti-Semite. Okay, this is what you call no-speak. A term I coined that basically means nonsense and nincompoopry. 2 other words I did not probably invent. But basically postmodernism and the other thing that likes to hang out with it, called Marxism, they get together and they create things like SJWism and wokeism, as you might have heard, maybe. And these things like to group together on the left. Yeah, maybe they're in the right, maybe they're upside down, maybe they're inside out. I don't really give a fuck about that 2-dimensional 4-box thing. I will be getting into better social, political, ideological spectrum graphs. I have created several that are better than that square box, stupid bullshit thing. But anti-Semite now means, colloquially, a paradox, a nonsensical thing, because people have taken the word Semite and claimed it for themselves who do not deserve it. It's not theirs. Not saying they deserve worse or better. I'm just saying they don't own that word. They're not Hebrews, Phoenicians, Akkadians, or Arabs. A person who is an anti-Semite is just disliking Jews. That's all it means. Which is exactly the opposite of what it originally meant. Semite meant all these people except for Jews and the penis natural people with penises that have natural skins. Gentiles, that's what they're called. So, originally, Semite meant Phoenicians, Hebrews, Arabs, Ethiopians, basically people who aren't Jews and aren't Gentiles. Okay? And aren't a whole bunch of, they're not Japanese and they're not Ukrainians, they're just those people. So the opposite group is opposite Semite. And in that group, you have the Gentiles, and you have the Jews, and you have the Ukrainians, and you have the Japanese. Okay? So you could almost say the Japanese, the Jews, and the Ukrainians, and the Gentiles are all anti-Semite, or they're outside of Semite, so they're exo-Semite. Okay? Yet we're taught to believe that if you're anti-Semite, aka against Semites, aka against Phoenicians, Akkadians, Hebrews, and Arabs, that literally just means you're anti-Jew. But they're in the other category once they said exo-Semite, with the Gentiles and the Ukrainians and the Japanese. This is what you call nonsense, when words are paradoxes that you can stumble into. Nonsense and nincompoopry. No-speak. Double-speak is a very big proponent of no-speak. Double-speak is when you say Semite and you mean exo-Semite. It's when you say war, but you mean peace. Truth is lies. Freedom is slavery. War is peace. Man is woman. Anti-Semite is Semite. Exo-Semite is Semite. Anti-Semite literally equals anti-Jew. However, anti-Jew and anti-Semite are antonyms, not synonyms. Semite and Jew are antonyms, not synonyms. A Gentile is as much a Semite as a Jew. A Japanese person is as much a Semite as a Jew. They're both exo-Semites. They're not Semites. Now, you'd be like, well, if I'm descended from Hebrew, then I would be a Semite. Yes, if you were descended from the ancient people of Israel or the ancient people of Hebrew, you could claim to be a Semite, but that is a small group of Jews. Once again, like I said, the word Jew is used to describe genetic, yes, but also it's used to describe religious and ethnicical, cultural, people's parents, and incorrectly, it's also connected to Semite. So you'd have to be someone descended from Hebrew country, the Hebrew nation, through the tribes of Israel, to be a Semite. And that wouldn't necessarily make sure that you're a Jew. You could be any type of person, any religion, and be descended from Hebrew and aka a Semite. Or descended from Arab and thus be a Semite, or Phoenician, or Akkadian, or Ethiopian and thus be a Semite. Mind you, the reason why Semite is so broad, and Exo-Semite is also very broad, probably broader, the reason why Semite is very broad is because it was a language, series of languages, the Semitic languages. So everyone who spoke those Semitic languages were called Semites. But now it's gotten overused to the point it means practically nothing because it includes the whole world. Or, if certain people get their way, which they have for the past 200 years or so, just Jews. Ethiopians, you're not Semites anymore. All these other people who are Semites, you're not Semites anymore. Only Jews. And like I said originally, they weren't Semites. They're not Semites. So start using the language properly. That would help us all out. I will try to do the same. No. Oh, wait. So I'm not going to go into the Khazars in this episode because I have no fucking clue what that is. A group of Turkish or Finnish tribes. Maybe those are who the people with the noses that are bent down like that, like like that one guy's penis I saw in that one video. Jimmy Dore. No, not that Jimmy Dore. No. I'm joking. It's all made up. I don't know. I don't know enough about that. I don't like talking about things that I don't know a whole lot about. But Kol Yidua was written in the 16th century. Interesting. Or maybe those people that are called genetically Jew, aka which have the noses that are shaped that way and are short and kind of balding or whatever it is that is those genetic traits, maybe they were from Hebrew, and they were the only actual Semites of that group of people. But all the religious ones and all the other ones aren't. You see what I'm saying? If you're Russian Jew or like a white Jew or like any of these other groups, you're not Semite. You don't speak the Semite language and you don't come from Phoenicians, Akkadians, Hebrews, or Arabs. Okay? And maybe this group of people who are called genetically Jewish aren't either Hebrews, Arabs, or Phoenicians, or Akkadians. Maybe they're just another group of Japheth, aka Europe. It's possible. Okay? Are today's Jewish genetically descended from the biblical Israelites? Blah, blah, blah. It's possible, but like I said, even refuting objections to Christianity. What? An inside message. Basically, this whole thing is, this whole video is, this podcast, whatever, this whole episode is just explaining, trying not to be mean or like, I know everything, you must understand. No, but trying to understand myself and trying to help other people to understand the complexity of the reality you live in. Not so much like it's all black and white. No, Jews are not Semites. No, Jews are Semites. No, it's nothing for the most part. It's simple. Okay, when people simplify things and dumb things down, they're lying to you. They're misleading you almost every single time. I mean, they could just try to explain it to you and they think you're a baby, but in the end, they're dumbing down the information, they're stupefying it, and you're going to be missing data. Okay? So, this is what's happened with Western languages and Western cultures, is the stupefaction of the understanding of reality. There are certain things that don't change, even when they say they change. And so, I do not have these links or a way to link them in a podcast and the video. I might have one of the links on the video, but you can see this bar right here. Type it in if you want to look at these specific things. As Akkadian Jews, also called Jews of blah blah blah. The point is, the word Jew means too many things. It's not just genetic. It's only a specific group of genetics, yes, but then also all these other people who are religious, and that's just something that people don't understand or even talk about. And also the word Semite is used incorrectly. And so other things, what else are we using incorrectly? If the Jews aren't Semites, what are they? I'm not saying they're horrible, human, demon people, okay? Shut the fuck up. You can criticize a group of people without being hateful. And that's what I'm doing here. Are Jews really Khazars? I don't know. But they're definitely not Semites. Now we've got criticism does not equal hate. That's a statement of fact. It's a still correct statement in English. English, American English, whatever English, Australian English, you fucking cunt. Okay, that was horrible Australian English. I apologize to all the Aussies who probably aren't listening to the show, or maybe they are, but you know, my heart goes to you, not really, because I want to keep my heart for myself, my own body, because that needs to pump, like, you know, the blood, the red stuff. But you can pretend to borrow my heart. Truth does not equal hate. Freedom does not equal slavery. Truth does not equal lies. Greek does not equal Roman. Hebrew does not equal Aramaic. Arabic does not equal to Portuguese. I don't fucking know. And we get to the splash screen of my TeePublic. And we only do it about half an hour with this video for this thing. Is this gonna be a short one? I don't know. TeePublic. What's this TeePublic we're looking at? Let's go. Let's go bra. Yeah. On. Oh, interesting. What is that? We can't spell that out. That's hate speech. Let's go Brandon. What is this? Fuck you, big. You can't comply with tyranny. You can't comply your way out of tyranny. Yeah. You go big may fast est. Yes, this is more my type of stuff. This stuff is pretty good designs, but this stuff is my fuck you big, fuck you est, fuck you may, fuck you may, fuck you. This would make sense if you watch some of the previous videos. I'm not flipping you off respectively, unless you're part of Ugu Big or May. But this is where I have a few designs. If you want to get a cool t-shirt and help support me, go to teepublic.com/user/freedom-reality. Easy. teepublic.com/user/freedom-reality. And there it is. My t-shirts. I took them. I'm taking all my Teespring t-shirts down because they censor and they delete my designs and claim it has something to do with IP. But really it's not about IP when it's fuck you Brandon. Sorry, let's go Brandon. Fuck you, fuck Glow Jiden or whatever the fucking his cunt's name. That's obviously ideological. It's not IP. By the way, I created the IP. I created the fucking design that I put on that shirt. It just said, fuck Joe Biden. That's all it said. And then on the other side it said, let's go Brandon, right? Now, who came up with that? A reporter mixed the two together on purpose and came up with that whole thing. And she did not copyright it, I'm pretty sure. So the design used the only other thing that you could be IP copyrighted or trademark, and I created that design. I created it. I put the colors there. No one else would use those crazy colors together. So them claiming it was about IP, it's bullshit. It was ideology, and they know why. And I'm not going to support a company that just takes down my awesome designs because they love sucking Democrat fucking cock or government cock or Marxist cock or far right cock or middle right cock or just like sucking cock. Like if a company I'm working with is like, but the Chinese people, they have tiny pee-pee, but hey, we love that tiny pee-pee, we'd suck that cock. And they're all like, hey, you said China, very good people, but very bad country. I mean, you said the people are cool, but you said the government's really naughty, and that's unacceptable. Tiananmen's Square never happened. So, this is not my Chinese accent. Okay? Shut the fuck up. This is not my Chinese accent. This is my really fast-speaking accent. I can do a good Chinese accent, but not now. That's not what I'm doing. So, we're going to take down your shirt that says CCP stands for Chinese cunt propaganda, or whatever. You know, it's like, there's so many things that you could make it stand for. Like, cut corners profitably. There you go. That's a perfect one for their business strategy, working with their fascist corporations over there. Yeah, that's bad enough. Who's King Freedom? Let's go to got a BitChute. I had a YouTube, but it's kind of like pointless posting anything there because I'm completely deranged, shadow banned everything. Censored, banned. I've had videos censored, deleted, everything. So, I mean, I'm like a long-term YouTuber. I'm one of the I don't know. However many of us there are, I'm part of the proportion of people who has been contributing to YouTube. On the bottom of the iceberg, like way deep down in there, way underneath the waters or whatever. Contributing on multiple accounts. I've had many YouTube accounts, and I've worked really hard on many of them, and none of them were successful. And now, even starting new ones. I had a gaming one that I was kind of excited for. YouTube was pretending like it was going to kind of work, like they were going to try to kind of work with me, and then the whole thing got yeeted because, I don't know, maybe I had one nipple too many, even though I wasn't doing nude yoga. Fuck, I could just put a big middle finger to their face, hire a babe who's fine with being naked, and just have her do nude yoga, and be all like, fuck you, bitch. Look, I got nipples showing now. But they would probably be like, yeah, but it's your nipple, so goodbye. It's not my nipple. It's the nude yoga lady's nipple. I'm hiding myself in the credits. The thing is, how it works is it's more about the person and less about the content. So if they realize that you are unacceptable beliefs in your head, you have thought crime, or if they realize that you might be, too far center, radical, upside down, or whatever the fuck, basically it's a bunch of different things, and it's never in their terms of service. It's not about the terms of service. It's nothing to do with terms of service. It's all about ideology and control. And I gave up with YouTube many times, and I still upload a few videos here and there, but it's kind of pointless. I've never really gotten views on YouTube ever for 15 years. Okay, so it's like the old ways they ranked, and they still have that ranking system. So you start off at 0 or whatever, and then you get points only if you get points and you're lucky, or you got traffic because you're lucky, or you got people's views because you're lucky. And then they're able to maintain and get more views, and then you get higher ranked. But I'm sure they added extra deranking to my videos because they know I am in control of all those different accounts. And not because I have more than one account, but because I have a certain mind that's not absolute bowing down to the elites and their suck-cockery. I'm not sucking Chinese cock on every day. I'm not sucking elites cock. I'm not sucking, the fascist cock, or the libertarian cock, or the Democrat cock, or the rhino Republican cock. I'm not sucking any of their cocks. So, super deranked, super deplatformed, super shadow banned, censored, banned, everything. I am yours truly, JARV, and this is the Dark Star Rising podcast, and we're not done. We're not done, because this is an hour and a half podcast, I tell myself, even though it's a little more like an hour and 19 minutes. But this hour and a half podcast started at 10:37, and we've gone an hour. I think we have gone an hour. So we've got like another 20 minutes here, okay? I upload it as soon as I'm done. It's kind of like other people who do not live podcasts. I would love to do live. I would have to do it like on Rumble. Because once again, like, why even use YouTube at this point? Right? I have my own website, which obviously is not ideal. It's not the ideal website. I would create my own from scratch if I had the money and the time and everything. But I also have all these other platforms: BitChute, Rumble, Minds, great places. Generally speaking, on BitChute, BitChute.com/capital JARV, all caps. It has to be all caps, otherwise it won't work. Rumble.com/JARV8, and then you got Minds.com/JARV _ news _ official, and JARV _ official for the other channel, which is more about business. And the news one is more of like my personal channel. Kind of weird how that worked out. Also, JARV News, all one word. Rumble.com/JARV News. Maybe I'll resurrect that channel, but I doubt I'll ever post on YouTube again with that channel. I have a lot of different channels that I still post on. This one that we're looking at is the BitChute one. We can go to the Rumble alternative. And Minds, I love that platform, even though you can't upload large videos for free. Otherwise, really, I do love it for everything else it has, and the ability to monetize, and the ability to do everything else. Join me at Minds. Minds is currently the best social network, period, hands down, full stop. No, there's no competition. I'm seeing nothing that comes close to competing with Minds as far as capabilities, reach, growth. Like, you can actually grow. Anyone can actually grow. Like, everyone there who's big, sure, most of them started big and pulled their audience into Minds. But then there's us few, us many. There's a lot of us, actually, who just started with 0 followers. And because they give you the ability to click on the right and follow random people, subscribe to random people, half those people subscribe back, so you generally have a 1-to-2 ratio. People with 1-to-1 ratios or ratios in superior for themselves either got there by pulling an audience to another place, adding a whole bunch of money to promote themselves, or very suspiciously with bots or something. There's like, no, if you randomly connect on people, you'll get a 1-to-2 ratio, meaning you subscribe to 1,000 people and 500 people subscribe back. You subscribe to 2,000 people, 3,000 people. It'll always be double the amount that you subscribe to than that subscribe to you. However, if you get popular, you might get over that, right? If you get a whole bunch of people coming to you somehow from somewhere, that probably won't happen unless you can advertise on it. And so that's the thing about Minds. It can be everything or nothing, but it has the capability, everything in there. You can earn tokens on Minds. We'll jump to my Minds here real quick. You can earn tokens on Minds. The tokens can be used to boost your content, to get more views for your content. So it's self-sustaining. And if you have extra money, you can pump in more tokens, paying for the service Minds, being their whale, and then also capitalistically you get more out of it. It is pay to win, but it's kind of a good thing and a kind of a bad thing. If you have advertising money, you can just put it into Minds to advertise. And right on the right, as you see, I already got them. People will just pop up. So if you do this every day, you just log in and click on this thing, you'll eventually get to the point. If you do it, you will get to this point. Like, it's practically guaranteed. Like, don't quote me on this, or do, but ultimately, something like this. 2,000 people subscribing to me, 3,000 people I'm subscribing to, 36,000 views. Now, you might be like, well, that's nothing. Compared to someone who somehow has a bigger audience and pull the audience into the platform. Like, pull the audience into Twitter or found the audience in Twitter. However, it has a lot to do with luck and other things. But for me, that's insane. Okay? On YouTube, the most watched video I have is probably 3K on YouTube. The one that's been up for like 13 years and has dead or alive babes in it or something. Like, I have a lot of channels. That's like and this has only been around for like a year or two, my channel on Minds. And yet I've got 37,000 views. Pretty good, Now, none of this will translate into money unless it does, but it probably won't. But if you're looking for a social network to get yourself out there, or to talk to people, share memes, or you could run it as a business, you could advertise, you could tell people when you're posting content. I don't do a good job of that, but I usually say, oh, there's a new video on rumble.com/JARV8. Because JARV was taken, which is kind of fucking ridiculous considering I'm the only JARV in this entire reality, expanded out beyond the Exoverse, beyond Ultimate Reality, beyond the Ultimate Verse, basically the only one you got. But here we go. Oh, this is a leftover from one of the previous days, renewable energy. Go watch my other videos or my other audibles. Or don't. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. We're going to see what we're going to do here. Let's finish out this. We got to get to that 19-minute mark. I'm joking. T-shirts. Oh, right. So this is kind of early. Like, I'm not a big fan of like ads, so I have ad block on, right? And like, I'm not a big fan of, I don't know what else to say. Basically, I like promoting my stuff because that's what matters to me and what I care about. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You don't have to listen. You could think of it as an ad, but it's more like, here, look at this video I made. Isn't it cool? Isn't it funny? Anyways, we're gonna go, and this is another thing. Is like you'll get notifications, be like, oh look, another Dark Star Rising episode was uploaded. Another Dark Star Rising episode. The plan is 3 a week. I found a way to poop out another one. This is the third. Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night? No, Wednesday night, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. Okay. Probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. But basically in the night, late at night, right around 10, 11 p.m. So by the time it uploads, it's probably going to be midnight or 11:58. No, maybe early the next morning. So you can think of it as Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, something like that. 3 a week. Okay? I don't think I can produce more than that because it is insane and I have a whole bunch of other things I'm working on. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling and this is no good. I would like to get a mic. I need to get a webcam. Not like you need to see my face, but maybe I'll put just a little animated hentai girl right here, and that would be much better anyways. Is this off the screen? I don't really want to stream on Twitch, and that's only place to get views for streaming games. Okay? No, I'm serious. Like, the reason why Mixer and all the other ones don't work is there's clearly not enough people, not enough market for 2 streaming services for games, apparently. Only one that everyone ever uses is Twitch. And for the most part, maybe a little bit of Facebook gaming, maybe a little bit of TikTok, but they don't have gaming. And Big O Live, they don't have gaming, really. They pretend to, but basically just Twitch. So I don't really want to stream on Twitch. I hate Twitch or the company, and I hate, kind of like I don't hate the people necessarily. I try not to hate people, but I definitely hate the company and the company's practices, and Amazon and Discord and all those other fucking Silicon Valley cuck lickers. That's someone who licks the extra yummy yum off the tip of a cuck's cock. So, not a big fan of those people. Not trying to hate, just saying I'm not a big fan of Silicon Valley and those big corporations either. The oil corporations, used to be like really leftist, to be like anti-corporation, anti-oil corporation. They're the worst ones. Hey, I'm against the oil corporations too, sure. And the electric corporations, and the Elon Musk Tesla scams. I'm against all that shit, okay? I hate to say this, but I don't think there's a single billionaire that has ever existed that got their money just by being good. Okay? Now, that's a complicated thing. It breaks down very complicated. But, for example, if you follow the rules of at least the government, you can't accomplish anything. Like, basically, if you follow all the rules, there's always too many rules. The rules are there to keep you from succeeding. There's gatekeepers in money and everywhere else. And it's just like, drop shipping. Like, you can't, 0 point drop shipping anymore unless you get creative. 0 point money, drop shipping is reselling stuff that you bought. And you can't really do that with $0 anymore. And it was really hard to in the beginning, probably. But why? Because people don't want you to get success, generally speaking. They only want people who are very successful. So basically how it works is like these. So if you're a drop shipper who's dropping from 0, what that means is somebody purchases an item from you, basically a intangible item or a ghost item. It's basically, just like any other business. It's actually a lot similar to a lot of other businesses, digital businesses, like buying things online, okay? But it's taboo and made look really nasty because some of the people are kind of scammy, but there's a lot of good drop shippers too. It's just another form of selling things where you're the middleman, you set the price up a little bit higher, then you buy it and you resell it. But the way that works from 0 is someone buys it from you with their money, you take it and you buy the product for them. You keep the extra 3% or whatever that you made and you send them the product. You can't do that from 0 anymore if you ever could. It's a lot harder. You have to get creative and do it like from Walmart or whatever, because, of course, the big companies caught on to this and found out that there was a way for ordinary people with hardly any money to make money. It's unacceptable. Why? Why are they down? Why are they against small businesses and small startup companies with zero money? Because these people aren't as profitable for them. So if you already have $10,000 and you put it into Etsy or Shopify or whatever, that's like, oh, guaranteed lots of money for them, because they'll get a portion of every single cent of that, right? And like, cut up those cents. I want them all. I want all my portion of them, and they have all these fees and stuff. But if you start off with $0, as soon as they realize you're one of those people who start off with $0 and try to make money, they put restrictions all up the fucking wazoo on your Shopify, Etsy, or whatever store you're using. There's a few exceptions who somehow got away with it, right? But it's not like it's a more scummy way of buying and selling things. It's just another way of doing it where there's another middleman. The middleman buys something and then resells it. Except for he's using the money from the customer at the end to buy the thing and then resell it and take in a profit. And that's kind of like, if you think about it, it's like an Avon salesperson. That's like a any of those brands, like what's a pyramid scheme, but it's not really a pyramid scheme because you get money. I don't know. It's like you resell a thing. You buy something you find something at the dump and then you sell it. It's kind of like that. It's just a different way of doing it, and you can be scummy at it and you can be not scummy at it. But some of the most popular brands, actual like brands that are also running Shopify websites, like Fashion Nova and Boutique, all these fucking whatever brands, they started just drop shipping. All those fuckers started drop shipping. The earpods, whatever they're called, the Buds, all those brands started by drop shipping. I know because I've been around for longer than 10 years, and I was aware of all that. Like during that time period, I even tried drop shipping myself, on and off for the past 3 years, and basically, Fashion Nova and all those brands, they started as drop shipping, just like drop shipping from $0 or $100 or something, and then eventually they got their own branded product, and then they branched out, and it's everything is made in China. So it's like, well, I don't want any of that Chinese crap. It's all made in China. Every physical, everything, not food, but like 99% of everything physical, like 80 or 90% of physical. I'm not saying 80% or 90% of everything, but of the physical things you can't eat, for the most part, it's made in China. So Walmart is essentially drop shipping from China, and so is Elon Musk. No, his are made in America, which is kind of cool, but they're still crappy made. The Teslas. That's why they're just so cheap. You don't think you can pay $30,000 on a car and get like a super quality car? No, and it doesn't have automatic driving, from what I understand. It's got second tier automated driving, which is just basically driving assist, as opposed to fifth tier, which is full on robot driving. So he kind of oversold the thing and underproduced, but this is normal for him. Since making PayPal, he's oversold and underproduced rockets. He's oversold and underproduced cars. He's oversold and underproduced now robots, drilling machines, Hyperloop, which just came from like an idea that somebody made 100 years ago about a pressurized system, tunnel to train system, and can't technically feasibly work because of the amount of pressure you have to sustain is insanely dangerous. Flying airplanes is way more successful because they did it. Orville and Wilbur Wright, they actually apparently did it. They built the thing and proved that it could work, and then they used it, and then maybe you don't believe that planes exist, but like the boring thing with the trains, it's kind of a scam in my opinion, because where's the functioning thing? Like, it was imagined 100 years ago by somebody who was not Elon Musk, and the technology still does not exist. Orville and Wilbur Wright, also roughly 100 years ago, created the actual fucking airplane, and then they used it over and over and over again, and now we got these jets. Maybe they don't actually fly and it's all CGI. I don't fucking know. but it kind of looks like you're flying when you see them take off and land, when you're at the airport, when you're walking into the thing, you rise up, it feels like you're flying. So maybe I'm really gullible, or maybe I'm easily fooled, or maybe it's kind of hard to fool someone that way and we all got fooled, or maybe it's actually like legitimately flying, okay? Just trying to have a more diverse audience. I'm not a hater of globetards or flat tards. I don't care, okay? Like, I'm just trying to understand things better. And so, like, back to the airplanes. Circle back around. No, circle. Airplanes. This one is gonna be like an airplane with a bunch of blood on it for the box. If not that, then you might as well stop watching me right now. I'm gonna have an airplane with blood and guts coming out of it, or at least blood. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. We could design that for right now. So basically, my point being, the people with more money will always be more profitable for the gatekeepers and the websites and the Etsy's and the Shopify's and the banks and all of those things. So people in those gatekeeping positions are incentivized to let those people succeed, the people who are already succeeding, already with billions of dollars or millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands or just tens of thousands of dollars, because it's better for their business. This is the same reason why when they printed all that money a year ago and they gave most of it to large businesses, even though it was all for small businesses. How did they do it? Well, this is how they did it. There was quite a few big corporations who each owned dozens of small companies. But okay, so it's a holding company or it's a corporation that owns a whole bunch of other corporations, and those corporations each have just barely under 500 people, aka small business if you're under 500. And so the money went to all of their little small companies and then funneled up to the big company. Why? Because the banks knew that these guys were good with loans. What does that mean? They already owe the bank money, but not like a dollar like you owe them, or $100,000 like your friend who has school debt owns them. No, these big corporations that own all these 500 employee companies owe the banks like billions of dollars or millions of dollars, okay? And they've paid them back before with interest, or maybe they haven't. Either way, it's big money, so they give all the money to the big money because then they'll get more money out of it. The banks are incentivized by money, and so are all these other corporations and all these other gatekeepers, and you don't have much money. So you're going to be gatekeeped out. This is how the system works. And you can't really fix it by just splashing socialism on it. You can't fix it by turning the whole thing communism, because that turns into a whole nother beast, which is even worse. But it is definitely a problem because it makes starting off something from zero to something virtually impossible, because there's gatekeepers everywhere, and none of these people want you to succeed. They all want you to fail. And the only one who wants you to succeed is yourself, and you're all alone. That's fucking weird. It's fucking terrible. You know, it's fucking horrible to live with, you know, to live with people and or live by yourself and have to work 10 jobs or 2 jobs or 1 job to support yourself. And yeah, it's fucking terrible. You know, it's not the worst thing maybe, but like, I'm just saying, like, you can't just work and get profits from your work when you're working for yourself. And that's an interesting thing. We'll probably have a business talkie. Not that I'm an expert businessman, but I have a little bit experience, and I'd like to learn more. I would like to have not a round table, but maybe like a podcast with a bunch of different people. But see, I can't even afford a fucking webcam. See, like, I've got hundreds of dollars that are frozen because I'm gatekept like everyone else who's got $0. You either have or you have not. If you have not, you get gatekept. Now, if you have $1 million already, it's easy to become a billionaire. It's easy. Like, I'm surprised. I look at fucking millionaires, and I'm like, why are you still a fucking millionaire? Like, okay, I'm being a little bit fascist, but the point, not fascist, fascist, face-assist, okay? I'm being a bit hyperbolic and exaggeratory, but it's a lot easier to have $1 million for sure and become a billionaire than it is to have $0 and become a millionaire. Fucking A. Fucking insanely easier. And even I would say it's easier to have $100,000 and become a millionaire, or $100,000 and become a billionaire than have $0 and become a 100,000aire. Okay? Why? Because you have to have money to make money. You have to have time. No. Money, power, fame. Okay. Power. Right. Power can be bought with money or fame, but mostly just money. Money. Money can be bought with money, power, or fame. Fame. Fame can be bought with money or power, but mostly money. That's the three that are the 3 in 1 of money. Now, I would believe that the root of evil is the love and pursuit of money, power, or fame, but it's really just one currency. And you can pursue it, but not love it, need it, and need to use it, and maybe not be corrupted. But as soon as you're like, I gotta be a billionaire, not because I want to do things with the money, but because I want the money, power, and fame, I think that does corrupt every single billionaire. Now, maybe there's a few who are retarded enough, like who aren't as corrupted, but you just gotta be that certain special 2% to 22% retarded, or whatever it is, and then he's also a scam artist. So, where's the righteous billionaire? This is the thing, and once again would bowl over into another podcast episode. I'm going to go ahead and say it, because a lot of people don't like to hear it. I do believe they really don't like to hear this, because they want to be the rich billionaire and also have morals. It's harder. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to come to God. Rough quote from the Bible, okay? That's a rough quote. We can look up the exact one. That's more or less what it is. And by rich man, it basically means billionaire or a millionaire. Basically, if you're not in the theology or the belief system that not Catholicism or Christianity or Judaism or Hebrewism or Israelite, but in the passing down of the understanding of the one true God from a biblical perspective. God basically is saying there, not preaching, not saying, I'm just saying that's what the Bible is saying. In that situation, it's allegory or a metaphor that could in fact apply outside of the Bible, outside of even the idea of God, into civilization, because there's a lot of things in that book that actually apply to civilization at large and aren't specifically for Christians or specifically for Hebrew or Arabs or whatever. They can apply because they're logical or wisdom-based things that turn out to be true over and over and over again. Things that are ancient and unmovable, kind of like biological female has a uterus, biological male has a penis. That's just been true for hundreds of thousands of years. Some say millions or billions, but in animals too, it's true. And they're like, well, animals change their gender. Well, yeah, when you dump a bunch of chemicals on the frogs, apparently they turn gay. Okay. Maybe some animals do naturally, but majority of animals are either male or female. The majority of creatures, and there's a lot of things that are basically just ancient knowledge that is true over and over and over again. That comes to a point where we start just assuming it's true all the time because of how accurate it is. Okay, and then there's like a small group of people who've got some genetic mutations and they got YYXZ MQM raised to the third power chromosome, or they have 3 boobs, or they have a tail coming out of their nose, or a giant stick out of their anus. That's like less than 1%. But that's what you call a negative mutation. I think most, if not all, mutations are negative, so it makes the case for evolution very weak. But that's another episode. So we're going to wrap this up. I like to hear from other people. Please don't leave me in my corner all alone. hit me up at minds.com/JARV_news_official or at rumble.com/JARV8. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Dark Star Rising podcast and show. That was not a burp. It was kind of a burp. Technically, it was a burp, but I wanted it to sound way more epic. I apologize. That was also even worse. No, actually, it was better, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great. Gonna be honest, it wasn't great. Now I'm just talking until I push the button. I will have that nice. Oh, this is what we'll do. We're gonna create it on the record. I'll describe it for the listeners. Yeah, you thought it was the end. Ha ha. If you listened past the ad that was or was not there, I wouldn't know. I don't know what time codes are. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. The point is, if you listen to now, you made it to the funnest part of the entire podcast. Wow. Good for you. Oh, that was what I was doing. Okay. So, I'm going to this place called Canva, and I'm clicking on this thing called Custom Size, and clicking on this thing called 2002, yeah, whatever. The point is, Sanchez, V-Spring, Mr. Ladypiece, Soulface. Now I understand why passwords have dots instead of the password. I actually got that maybe 10 years ago, but only when I realized that streaming existed. Like, I don't understand any other reason why, other than like your friend you don't trust is right here and you know he has a photographic memory. It's like, okay, so we're starting with this and then we're deleting it. Boom, boom. That was a stupid hippie, like fucking yuppie, far lefty food. Yucky's nasty stuff from Asia. I don't know. The point is, we go and we look at airplane. Okay, ARPLAPNE. All right. Oh, this is like just about perfect. Can I get away with getting the first, like the second, third, first airplane that's right there? It's the first one I see just about, and I just use that. Oh, I can have two airplanes. Hey, this is still technically airplanes bleeding. If I have more than one airplane, okay, guys? Okay? You're gonna... So I got two airplanes on here. They're both like SVGs or just PNGs with a transparency in the background, so I can just put them on whatever I want and have my own background. And then I scroll down and here's this massive fucking airplane. This massive one is also blue tip, and I'm not a big fan. There's a blue tip, red tip. There's not a whole lot other than that, but I'm going to go ahead and put the red one on top and have the two blue sucking each other's face spores down there. And then we're going to add the blood because I don't need any more. Here we go. The gold one is the one. One golden plane to rule them all. So now we just go like bloody. Okay. There's a bloody fist. I'm flipping off the fist because I like to flip things up. Oh, we could have done that luggage. Yeah. But I don't want that queer luggage. No, you don't get it. I was saying queer as a compliment. Don't you know? It's a compliment now. Also, if you are a person of colors, shout out to you because, wait a minute, what's this? This is a silver airplane. Fuck everything but the silver airplane. Fuck everything but the silver airplane. It's like a fucking rocket ship. Okay. But, my friends here... Okay, do we have to do elements? Because most of these don't have transparency. I need transparency. Transparency. Okay, so I like putting blood on things because why not? Yes, I'm forever 11 years old. Alright, so put that there. And we put some bloods here. Now, I did say there'd be guts, but there probably will be guts. Sort of. Maybe. We'll call this one guts, okay? Hey, it looks kind of gutty, doesn't it? No, it doesn't? Alright, so... There's some cool designs here. Alright. This will probably get my Canva completely shadow blocked. Do I have any personal information here? They can't even tell what my shadow blocked Canva is. Yeah, this is just garbly goop. You can't sign in with that. Okay, so... Oh, there we go. We're going to put it behind That way it looks like it's behind things. And then, so right now we have all a bunch of airplanes, the golden one in the far back with the map. And I just fucked it up. And then we have luggage to the right here, because the luggage is on the far, far right, because it's far, far outside of the cold fucking sun. And then I gotta undo that again because it's not far enough probably. I think that's good enough, maybe. And then we've got, okay, maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that good? No. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And anyways, so there's 3 bloods on it right now. 1 on the silver, 1 on the baggage, 1 behind on the map. It looks like it's on the map, doesn't it? And then there's a silver airplane. It's going to be exploding some guts out of its anus here, right about here. And all the other airplanes will have to swim through that exploding guts part. 1, 2, 3. Once again, it's not guts. My bad. It's just blood. But I'm looking for guts. If I find guts, I will put guts on, okay? In fact, I could just go ahead and make this guy bleeding over everyone. And then we're going to have 1 more here. Well, there's some very gut. This guy's like bleeding. And then let's go for guts. First off, I want this one. And this one is basically, see, they all basically bleed. You didn't know airplanes bleed? What the fuck, man? What the fuck is wrong with you, fucking cunt? Little bitch boy. You little Brad woman. You fucking best friend I've ever known except for my other best friend. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No one likes to be insulted. What are you still doing here? Alright, so let's just do guts. Okay, they don't understand what guts are. Yes, I understand that's technically sort of guts, but what I mean is like this kind of guts. Bloody guts. Not guts that are just intestines. Okay, what I wanted was guts, but what they think of it as is gore. So we're gonna get some gore here. Well, I mean, technically I searched and this said it was gore, so I'll just get some gore here, even though this is technically just blood, like all of it. I mean, no, it's totally gore. This is gore. This is not blood. This is guts. This is not blood. Oh, I got guts right here. This is just gotta, oh boy, he needs to see the doctor or WebMD, because that's just as good. Because his anus has got some serious problems. So, it's very confusing. I still like it, because we're going to end up having the thing that matters on it. That thing that doesn't care about its fucking feelings or its fucking facts. It's going to have the Dark Star Rising! Oh, Dark Star Rising. We're going to, just like this, we can turn this and upgrade this to being capitalized. We can upgrade this to being capitalized. Now wait for this. So we can select all of this and do sunburn. But ultimately this part right here, we're going to do Anton. Or the other way around. Dark Star Rising. See? Dark Star Rising. Now you might be like, well, that's a mess. Yeah, it is. It's a big mess. But am I right or am I right? Right? No, I'm so far right. I'm very rarely wrong. Alright, so what we have here, actually, that's probably the... I think I said that one of the last podcasts, so I didn't ruin it this time by saying it this time. Thank you very much. We're going to go effect. Neon. 88. Dark Star Rising! And then in the middle we'll have the number, I suppose, being 003! Number 3! Because the numbers really matter when you're starting off. Like, don't even have the numbers when you're starting off. You see how people like Jordan Peterson or whoever, like, They have a podcast that has a number. Then they have a special version of the podcast, and now it's a podcast of Fork and Bark of 47, number 47 of that Fork and Bark of podcast, Dork and Bark. And I'm not good at voices, but it's 255 of the Dork and Dork, but it's 1,437 of the Slurp and Nerp, Burf and Nerp. It's like numbers within numbers, like super meta. Like, oh my god, just start a new podcast or something. Like, for fuck's sake. This is the Dark Star Rising podcast, and this 3 is going to be really... It's actually more like a podcast and show. It's not just a podcast. This is going to be an awesome 3 with a lot of zeros. I guess I just think that way. I think digitally, or like with zeros. Like, I have to... Because I've been working with computers for so long that, like, I think that way. You know, I think... Instead of being all like, well, this would be a 3, or just THRE, I think 003. So I have to put 003 there. It's just interesting that way. I never thought about that very much. Because when I started off, I guess, I was like, oh, I have to put 3 zeros? Yes, you have to put 3 zeros, because otherwise, like, mathematically, the computer will get it all mixed up and sort it differently. I used to number PNGs for, like, stop motion animation, and you had to, like, number 003, 004, 00. Otherwise, it would get out of order, and your animation would be shit. I mean, it would look like shit anyways, because it wasn't, you know, but like, it would look way more shit, instead of, like, my beautiful animation. I used to make some cool animation back in the day, and I wish I'd pursued that and created a YouTube video series out of it. Back in 2005, roughly, is when I was making stop motion animations. And if I had started YouTube then, I could be shadow ranked and shadow banned and deleted for 20 years straight. Wow! This is gonna be a 58. Well, that's just it. You can only stream successfully on Twitch. You can only create long-term video format successfully on YouTube. You can only create 30-second video successfully on, like, TikTok, or conservative TikTok called Rumble. It's like everything's monopolized at this point. It's kind of crazy, and that's kind of the thing. I mean, sure, Instagram, there's a few other competitors, but for the most part, it's like, what if they all fucking suck and I just want to fuck, you know? Anyways, all the places I'm not successful, so it's not like, why do what you'd be the most successful at? Well, that's nothing. So I'm just gonna do whatever. The point being, here on Rumble / iHeartRadio / whatever the fuck we're on, you're listening to or watching the Dark Star What is this? This 3? It's just, I have the wrong fact or something? Boom! This 3. Now, if this 3 does not end up being yellow, you have to off-clip this video right now and go stand in a corner and poop. I don't care if that hurts your feelings or nothing. I don't care if you think it's immature. Go into a corner and poop. If it's yellow to any degree, or even slightly maybe-ish yellow, you're good to go. You don't have to worry. You don't have to go into a corner and poop. All right? But it's got to be at least a little bit yellow. All right? See, roughly FFC708 kind of yellow. Okay? If it's that, you're good to go. So go ahead and check that icon again. And while you're checking that icon, make sure you like this video podcast. Give it a 10,000 stars out of 4 stars, or whatever you want to call it. And check out the other ones. Check me out on Minds just to say hello. You suck. Minds.com _JARV _official. Just tell me I suck. I want to be told in person, or on the internet, on the internet. Because honestly, you know, that's number 3. Something's wrong about this. It's just too blur. It's like everything's just blur. So I'm gonna change this one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm gonna make the Dark Star Rising smaller. What? And then I'm gonna put a few more spaces. Nah, let's not do that. Dark Star Rising. It looks weird, but it works. We'll make this bigger, and we'll make it to, like, This is the funny thing. 999. You cannot go over 800 in size. Control Z. Grab. Grab, hold. Pull! 1,548. That's over 800. You guys gotta fix that, man. Make it more. There we go. It's like the 300, but in yellow, in like vomit lemon yellow with pink background. And is that a good spacing? Yeah, that's all right. And then we go download as PDF, PNG 2882 by 2882, JPEG by 2882, 200%. We go back to PNG, and we go ahead and we go flip, thurp, derp, perp, forp, warp, flop. 86, 46, 75. Oh, no, we don't need to do any of those. We'll do 1414. No, we'll just do SVG with transparency background. I'm lying. Boom. And then, for this right here to be animate at fade. Oh, they already do really cool tumble dries. They all are doing tumble dries. Wow, I didn't know those other ones would be animated. That's really fucking phenomenal way it mixes like that. But Dark Star, just Dark Star Rising, just Dark Star, we're gonna have it be animated as a good grief. Shift. Yes, that's kind of funny how that worked out. All right, and then we're gonna go MPEG-4, MP4 video. Now, you have a good night, morning, or day, sir, ma'am, or whatever. Go slay, not literally. Don't kill people. Alrighty, thank you for checking out the Dark Star Rising podcast and show. Don't know what else to do except for have a great weekend. This is Friday or Saturday or maybe it's Monday. Doesn't matter. Go out and repopulate the earth, human.